Top of the morning to you, laddies. Kind of a weird intro right there. Okay, on to the actual video. So, a lot of you might be wondering, Socks, how do you do your stop motion? How do you do it so well? Why is this walking animation so crappy? I ask myself that question a lot. I really need to work on my walking animation, that's for sure. Well, the first tip is, don't use figure, if you're trying to make a good walking animation, don't have figures that have really loose and flimsy torsos or hips. MegaTron, on the other hand, he's got good. Okay. He's got a good stand. His feet are big and chunky, so he's not gonna fall over when you're doing stop motion. Next, he's got big feet, but look at his hips. He's got bendy boy. His face moves. Of course, I'll put a link in the description of all of these figures that I use in the stop motions. But yeah, use a figure that's got pretty tight limbs, doesn't fall over easily, and if it does have problems with that, use stuff like modeling clay, and if you don't have that, and if your sister has like Play-Doh or something, you can use Play-Doh. I don't know. So yeah. And of course, you're probably asking yourself about the actual part of the stop motion, where you move it, take a picture, move it, take a picture, move it, take a picture. What I use is a remote control capture button and a stand that my phone is sitting on right now. The remote control came with the button, but of course, if you already have a stand, you can order one of these separately on Amazon. And stop motion, it doesn't require a lot of skill usually. It usually does require some skill for certain parts, like animating a walk cycle. Stop motion animation doesn't require a lot of skill. It just takes a lot of time and dedication, which is why I don't upload often. Not even on my gaming channel, because I'm usually working on stop motion projects such as the Toy Rebellion or the Mega Man and Lego video. Those ones took a lot of time, especially the ones that are longer. Here's a little tip for YouTube. Put a lot of pause frames in your stop motion and then it'll be longer. Because YouTube, for some reason, likes that. And software that I recommend using if you're using a phone, I don't have any recommendations for if you're on PC. You're gonna have to watch another guide video because I don't have a PC. But yeah, the software that I recommend for if you're on a phone is Stop Motion Studio or Stop Motion Studio Pro. They're probably the best stop motion apps on the Play Store that I've seen. Stop Motion Studio Original doesn't cost any money, but of course it does have in-app purchases, and that's the weird part about it, but I'm not going to get into that right now. If you buy Stop Motion Studio Pro, you'll have access to drawing on the screen, you'll have access to green screens, and what's the other one? Blue screens. That's basically the same thing as a green screen. And now for stuff like set design and where you want to do your stop motion. Don't do it on a carpet. It's gonna get, especially if you're using clay, it's gonna get clay up all up in the carpet, and you're not gonna be able to get it out unless you use a steam cleaner or something. And if you don't have steam cleaner, then you're freaking screwed. If you want to have an enclosed area or feel like your character is in an area other than your entire room, you could what I use is let me find an example. Like this digital drum case, you can cover it in a white pillowcase, or you can tape a bunch of paper onto it, and then boom, you got a black background. You can also use different colors like black. Well, actually, that's not really a color, but my sister's color. You can use black, pink, red, any type of color that you have of paper. And if you don't want to use a set, Just use your whole world. That's what I do. Although I will say it can sometimes be a little bit impractical. And for Lego, what you're gonna want to do is I'll put it on screen right now. What you're gonna want to do is you're gonna raise the foot up, and then put both feet in between two studs, and then bring the front foot down onto the stud, and then bring the back foot down onto the stud again. And then rinse and repeat the process until you have a good walking cycle. And if you want your stop motions to look smooth but not take a lot of time, if you're looking for professional stop motion movie making, I recommend 30 frames per second because that is the fastest FPS you can go on stop motion. Of course, you can go 60 frames per second, but that's literally impossible to do. Or you can do what I do, and you can use 25 frames per second, which is in between the normal 15 frames per second that stop motion studio beginners use, and 30 frames per second. 25 frames per second is a great middle. You should definitely start there, and if you want to gradually get better, you can move up to 26, 27, 28, and then 30. And I'm sticking to 25 because, of course, if I don't upload a lot, then I'm gonna lose subscriber. So I have to upload a lot, and if I use 30 frames per second, it takes a long time. But if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I made a stop motion. I made a 30 frames per second stop motion special a couple months ago, and people liked it a lot. So if you want to do that, then that's your choice. If you're into stuff like claymation, check out my buddy Superlink2. He does a lot of claymation, so you can watch his videos and get some tips. He hasn't done a guide video though, so you're just gonna have to take notes from his videos and stuff. And that's about all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this stop motion guide. Like if you want more of this content, and I'll see you all in the next stop motion. Goodbye! Oh my god!